Hello, everybody. I just decided I wanted to talk to you this morning about setting a goal for yourself that is realistic and not getting caught up in comparing yourself to other people who you admire. And it's very important that when you're looking at other people's lives, other people's job positions, and there's nothing wrong with looking at other folks and saying, hey, I want to have that, or hey, I want to be that good at this, or hey, I want the life that they have. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. In fact, that's a great thing to have people who you look up to who set an example as to things that you would like to accomplish with your life. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, I think it's incredibly important to surround yourself with people that are that way. Because what that's going to give you is it's going to give you, not only is it going to give you motivation because you can see that this person has accomplished this person is doing this with their life, and I want to do that too. That's a good thing. Where people go wrong is that they look at those people and they get jealous. And they think, well, that's not fair that person has that. That's not fair. And that's where people really slip up, and they go from being in a position where they have a chance to actually maybe accomplish that in their own way to they're never going to accomplish that because they're so focused on the fact that I want to have exactly what they have, how they have it. And the truth is, each one of us is going to have our own experience. We're going to accomplish different things using that person's life and accomplishments as inspiration and as a goal that you set for yourself is going to help you to accomplish great things yourself. But if you get caught up in this idea that I have to have exactly what they have and how they have it and how they did it, you're going to miss the boat. Because you're going to be so focused on what they did that you're going to miss the whole point, which is to try and better yourself and better your life so that you can have a life similar to their life, that you can have a job similar to their job, or whatever it is that you see in them. I want you guys to think about some people in your life, whether it's coworkers you've worked with, it's someone you look up to who you met, or a family member, a friend, and I want you to think about those people and think, what about those people do you really admire? And you might also, it's also useful to talk to them about what did they do to become who they are today. Because I guarantee you that you will find that no matter what their starting point was, if they've accomplished great things in their life, it didn't just fall on their plate, right? It didn't just happen to them. There was a whole set of events that made that situation possible. Now, the event itself may have just happened, right? Like, I watched a movie recently about the American soldiers who were on a train in Europe, and a terrorist attacked the train, and those three guys disabled the terrorist and saved everybody on the train. And cool story. Clint Eastwood made a movie about it, used the actual guys as the main actors in it and everything. And the thing that people miss, and the thing that I like that Clint Eastwood did, is he showed what were the things that led up to these guys being ready for this to happen. Because you could show that singular event and think, oh, those guys, this just happened, and they made the decision to be brave and step up rather than being sheep and getting shot. Okay, well, nothing in life just happens, right? Everything that you do on a daily basis, every little experience you've had, all those things are what lead up to making it possible for you to do this one activity on that day that made the difference. Okay, and I want you guys to think about every opportunity you have, even if it seems like it's not necessarily working towards your future goal of where you want to be, every opportunity that you come across is going to make you more prepared for what God has planned for you the next day, the next week, the next year, right? I have held some jobs and done some things in my life that had nothing to do with what I do now. and had nothing to do with what my goals were, right? I mean, at the time, I was, either going, I was going to school to be a personal trainer, or I was, just trying to make ends meet, and so I just took the job I could get to make enough money to make it work, and so on and so forth. The thing I want you guys to focus about is everything you do is an opportunity to grow and set yourself up for what's next. And I promise you that if you make the most out of every opportunity, if you work hard and you put your heart and soul into it, even if it's something you don't enjoy, find something about that you can take pride in. Work hard at it and do your best, because the things that you're going to take away from that experience are going to set you up for the future. So every job I've had, every sport I played, every class I took, every person I met and built relationships with, every one of those things have made me who I am today. And if I hadn't done all of those things, I wouldn't be the same person, have the same skill sets, have the same thought process, have the same determination, etc. So everything you do, every opportunity you take, and every opportunity that you create is going to prepare you for accomplishing and doing that next thing that God has planned in your life. So I want you to look at the people around you and find those people that inspire you. Find people who you look up to. Find people who you respect, and people who are excited to be a part of helping you become great too. Find mentors, and then I want you to spend time with them. I want you to talk to them and keep people like that close to you. People who want to help you, people who you look up to, and surround yourself with those people. A lot of folks out there like to surround themselves by people who they look down upon because they make them feel better about themselves. The problem with that is, you're approaching everything from a negative position, right? If you're feeding off of the fact that you're better than them, or you see yourself as better than them, you're never going to gain any motivation or inspiration out of that situation. Those people aren't going to help make you better at what you do. Those people aren't going to teach you anything that you could use in your life. You need to surround yourself with people who are positive, who encourage you, who support you, who inspire you, and then you're going to do that same thing for the people around you. And it's that type of relationships, that type of mentorship, and being both a student and a teacher, those are the things that are going to really help you get to that next level. And it's not just the people who you surround yourself, it's the things that you read, the things that you watch, the people you follow on LinkedIn or Facebook, everything. Every influence that you have in your life can help make you better and set you up for the future. At Rain for Rent, there are a few people in the company who I really admire and look up to. And the reason I admire them and look up to them is that they have accomplished great things, and they do things consistently on a daily basis that set them apart from everybody else. And over the years, they've proven themselves as being, just head and shoulders above the average salesperson, the average management person, the average installer, whatever. And it doesn't matter what their title is, right? It doesn't matter what position they hold. What's important to me is how they approach their work, how they approach their life, the type of pride that they take in what they do. That's the thing. Those are the things that I really feed off of. And I surround myself with people like that and make sure that I'm supporting the people that I'm around, making sure that they feel like they can be that as well. So I'm not just taking examples from the people who I admire, but I'm trying to be someone who the people that I'm around can admire and look up to as well. And I'm trying to learn and teach at the same time. So if there's something that I learn from one of these great folks and I start applying it to what I do, I make sure that I pass that knowledge on to other people. And there's so much that you can learn from being a teacher. And the reason that is in order to teach a skill set or teach and pass on your knowledge to someone else, is that you have to be able to understand that skill, that knowledge on a level much higher than just to understand it yourself. You have to understand it in a way where you can explain it to someone else who has a different, way of doing things, or has a different learning style and understands things differently. So if you can understand that skill, whatever it is, or that activity, if you can understand it at a higher level than the average person, to where you can actually teach it to someone else in a way where they're going to learn it, even though they think differently than you do, and they do things differently than you do, but you're still able to convey how to do that better and how to help them utilize that, you're going to learn from that situation, because you're going to find that everybody approaches things differently. Everyone has a different mentality, everyone has a different focus, different set of goals. And that's a good thing. That's a beautiful thing about being a human being, is that we all have our own experience. We all have our own perspective. And everyone can accomplish great things. But when you are looking at those accomplishments through the looking glass of, I have to do exactly what this person did and how they did it, and only if I do it that, and only if I accomplish what they accomplished am I successful, you're going to miss the entire point of the whole thing. You should be inspired, inspired, motivated, and gather your wisdom from those people. But then what you accomplish is going to be your own unique style and flavor, unique to you. And that's the beautiful thing about being a human being, is that we are all different, and we're all going to have our own experiences, and we're all going to yield different results, because we all have different circumstances, right? Being the best salesman in Rain4Rent is something I would love to be, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I will be the highest grossing salesperson, or that I will have the largest customer base, or whatever, right? That's not the only measurement of that success. And I can't compare myself directly to other salespeople who I look up to, because they have a completely different set of circumstances. One of the guys I work with who I really look up to is Ken Estes. Him and I have worked together for years, and I actually worked, when I first started, I was an installer on projects that he had been running in the oil and gas industry. And then when I became an inside salesperson, I actually assisted Ken in bidding projects that we won together. And there was times that I was actually teaching him about some of the dewatering stuff, because I had been working in those market segments before he had. And so there's things I was teaching him. And then there was a lot of things that I learned from Ken about how he approached projects, the things that he did with his customers, and his overall just willingness to work hard and be diligent about what he did in order to accomplish what he's done. Last year, he billed out $6 million in projects in the industrial market segments, which in our company, that is a very big amount for an industrial sales rep. That's basically oil and gas salesman numbers. Now, it's not high oil and gas salesman numbers. In fact, when Ken was an oil and gas salesman, he was billing out, millions on a monthly basis. There was times where I think he was billing out like $20-some million a year. And so, to give you some perspective, it's not big oil and gas numbers that he's hitting, but for industrial, the average industrial salesman who's successful is doing between $1.5 million and maybe $4 million in industrial sales, depending on what their market segments are, their customer base, and whatever. In my territory, I could never bill out $6 million in industrial work in my territory, because my territory is totally different. So for me to be the best I can be in my territory might mean billing out $2 million or $2.5 million. That might be the equivalency in my territory to his 6 million. You know? So comparing yourself to other people is not the way to look at it. You want to take what they do, you want to learn from them, and surround yourself with people like that so that you can use that energy and use it towards accomplishing what you can accomplish. You know, I'm going to be the best salesman I could be in my circumstances. I'm going to make the absolute most revenue I can in my circumstances. And I'm going to feel really great and be extremely proud of myself when I do those things because I know what I was up against. And then there's going to be people who from the outside looking in are going to look at my numbers or whatever and think, whatever. Like, that's not that impressive, you know. Oh, Bryce did $2.5 million in industrial sales. You know, so what? I did 6. If that's a person's mentality, they're missing the whole point. Because what is a great accomplishment for one person is going to be different for another person. You know, and that brings up another subject. You know, people get caught up in this whole privilege thing, right? Well, so-and-so had a head start, right? They had rich parents, and they were able to get into this school, and they were able to get this job starting out where I had to start from, you know, flipping hamburgers or whatever, right? I had to turn wrenches in order to work my way up and make a living, and that person got an office job. Where you start and where you finish is not the benefit you're going to yield. Okay, wanting to get to a certain point in a career, financial, whatever, that's great. But it's going to be unique to you. And when people get caught up on the idea that, well, such and such had this first, so they were able to do this, they got to start from this point. I promise you that the majority of those rich kids that had so much opportunity, right, they got a head start, they got to go to a good school, you know, they were never poor, they never had to struggle. I guarantee you that their perspective on their success is different than yours would be if you had the same success. And I also guarantee you that starting out with very little and having to work and struggle, you will be a more accomplished person at the end of your life than the person who started with everything. Because you, not only did you have to work really hard, but you also have an appreciation for everything that you yielded out of that hard work. That person didn't have to do anything to get, you know, that money. They didn't have to do anything to get a position with a title. Whereas you had to bust your hump, right? You had to bust your ass. And even if you are never in the same position or make as much money as they do, what you've accomplished in your life is much more impressive and much greater than what they've accomplished. You had to go through 10 more job positions and work twice as many hours at different jobs and do some crazy stuff that they never even would have had to think about doing to accomplish what you accomplished. But because of that, you have a greater skill set, you have more experiences, and you have developed a work ethic, a discipline that they never had to, because they were just handed things. So when you look at where they start to where they finish, they grew about this much as a person, whereas you grew this much. So don't compare yourself to other people and expect to get exactly what they get, how they get it, so on and so forth. Also, don't look at where a person starts and think that because they started from that position that they're better than you or that it's unfair, or be jealous of them, because that's bullshit. Don't use that as an excuse. Because you can do and accomplish great things from where you're at and that are personal to you. Your greatness is going to be different than their greatness. And the fact that you had to struggle, that only makes your accomplishment that much sweeter. Your victories and overcoming the challenges you overcome, that much better. And that much more pride that you can have from those things. Because what do they have to be proud of? They didn't do anything. Right? What do they have to be grateful for? They already had it. So don't compare yourself to other people and then cry about it and whine about it. Surround yourself with people who can help you to be what you want to be, that can help you get to where you want to be, and then be one of those people who passes that on to those around them. You want to be inspired? Inspire other people and surround yourself with people who inspire you. You do those things, and I promise you that you will have a life filled with passion, filled with joy, filled with pride. And whatever it is you end up accomplishing at the end of your life, you'll be able to look back and say, hey, there were some hard times, but man, did I do some cool stuff. Man, did I accomplish some things. Man, did I do a lot. And you're going to have people surrounding you who look up to you and who admire you. And you're going to be able to, have a life that was worth living. So I want you to go out there and stop being negative, stop comparing yourself, and start learning from the people who you look up to. And I promise you that you're going to have a life that's far greater than what you have right now. If you like this video, please share it with your friends, your family members. Please subscribe to my channel. I ask that you guys have a great day. Be safe, be prosperous, and be inspired.